We're live. Look at this shirt. Oh, so cool. I actually got it printed and it's a little too low. I want it a little higher, but it works. Merch store coming soon. I'm just kidding. What's going on, guys? Hope everyone had a super awesome weekend. I did for sure. My family did. It was my son's first birthday, which was an awesome time. Very small get together, but one that I will totally remember forever. Behind me, actually, I have some of his photos up as well. So very exciting. But I wanted to come on this afternoon, and make a quick podcast about weight loss and what you should prioritize. There is so much information out there as far as what's important and what's not. And the lens that I like to look through is always, what is the easiest thing for you to do that's going to give you the best result so you can sustain it forever? That is essentially the frame that we look through, zoomed out, to be able to get our clients the best results possible and forever, right? Because when I set out to become a coach, my goal was to help people. I am not helping anybody unless I am solving this problem for good, right? I don't know, makes sense to me. So that's why we're here, to be able to solve this problem forever. So I want to show you guys the pyramid of priority. Now, if you're listening to this on podcast, you'll have to use your imagination or join our Facebook group, which I think there's a link in the description for you to join, and you'll be able to see the video version of this. But what I want to show you guys here is the pyramid of priority. So let's get this shared really quick. Oh, can this not share? Oh no, I don't think it can share. Oh wait, no, present. I got it. Stay with me. Okay. Here it comes. Movie magic. Excellent. Okay, so now that's sharing. Awesome. Okay, we did it. So if we're thinking through this lens of being able to transform your body and sustain it forever, this is everything zoomed out I do with my clients during the time we're together. Like, this is it. Now, you might be looking at this and you're like, I don't get it. And that's because the nuances in I'll say the implementation is in the nuances in each of these categories. But let's go through this together. So you have at the bottom, so you have this pyramid, right? If you're not watching the video, and below the pyramid, before the pyramid even starts, is the word adherence. The most important thing with any program is, can you stick to it? And a lot of people, when they think about can they stick to it, they don't think about it through the lens of will I stick to it, or will, if a coach is giving it to a client, will they stick to it? They think, can they stick to it? For example, is it within the realm of possibility, or is it like, in the realm of possibility for a person to exercise 90 minutes a week? Yeah, 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week, no problem. Is it within the realm of possibility for them to eat nutritionally and lower calories? Yeah, of course. Is it within the realm of possibility to make sure that you're, sleeping 7 hours a night? Yeah, no doubt. The problem is that good for where that person is right now? Because anyone can do something very quickly. And this is what the majority of coaches do. And people do, they build a house of cards. So essentially they apply too much too quickly because they're motivated in the moment. And then what happens is the first stressor comes. And as that stressor comes, there goes their house of cards. And now they're back on this cycle of guilt. Right? Oh man, this time's not any different. I feel bad, and now I'm going to go cope emotionally with these actions, and I'm going to push this down. And essentially, it's the same type of rhythm and cycle that the majority of people are on. 97% of women that lose weight eventually gain it back. I'll say that one more time. 97% of women that lose weight eventually gain it back. Holy moly. So don't you think that it's important for us to optimize for being in that 3%? And just if we were to take a step back really quick, why are those 3% gaining it back? It's not because they don't know what to do a lot of times. It's because whatever they're doing wasn't sustainable through every season of life. And if we're thinking about the seasons of life, you have times that are good, you have times that are okay. And if you haven't gone through any yet, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're going to go through some times that are bad. And those times that are bad is really what you're optimizing for. Because if we don't, then that's where people end up failing. So the most important thing before we could jump into the things above this pyramid are, is this actually adherable, right? Is this actually sustainable? And when we're thinking, you'll see sustainability and sleep like kind of hand in hand. I probably need to change around this pyramid slightly, but the reason that sustainability and sleep kind of go hand in hand is because when you sleep, not only will it accelerate your fat loss directly, indirectly, which is more notable, it will increase your sustainability. Why? Because when you sleep, you are able to deal more emotionally. You have higher emotional resilience to the things that happen to you through the day. So if we're thinking about optimizing for never stopping again, I tell my clients all the time, the thing that we want to be able to do is start to play this game and never stop again. If we're optimizing for never stopping, don't you think it would be good? I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. If we're optimizing for never stopping, and the reason we stop is because of negative emotions that we experience, right? You never stop the journey because you don't understand, or you stop understanding how to lose weight. I'll say that one more time. You never stop because the knowledge that you have for how to lose weight, for knowing what foods to eat, that never goes away. So that's not the problem. It could be the problem in the beginning, but once you solve that problem, you should never have that problem again, right? So why do 97% of women gain it back? It's because of something emotional. So we have to optimize for peak emotional goodness. And that goes from the side of resilience, but it also goes with the more positive emotions of like creating positive feedback loops, right? And part of that is through like cognitive behavioral therapy, how we view things. Another one is just through even just having a coach telling you how great you are and rewarding the right behaviors. This sounds funny, but if you're a parent, you know what I'm talking about. You don't want to tell a child they're smart. And the reason you don't want to tell a child they're smart is because when things get hard, they feel dumb. And now they don't ask for help because their identity is being smart. Where instead, if you commend a child's effort and you say, wow, your effort is amazing, then you're essentially rewarding the behavior that always leads to a positive outcome, regardless of if they win or lose, right? And that goes in line with what we do with our clients as well. I don't, and my clients don't really on purpose magnify, wow, you're getting great results as the most important thing. Why? Because that's what people do on their own. And people feel great. Women feel great. Everyone feels great when they make progress, and they feel like garbage when they don't. But what if you could be rewarded for the behavior that is aligned with eventually getting the result, even if you don't get it immediately? Effort. So like effort is what it comes down to. You know, an example of this could be like, you know, working out, you know, a rewarding behavior of working out versus you're down a pound, right? Rewarding the behavior of, I love the way that you looked at that situation versus, you know, great, your clothes are fitting better. And don't get me wrong, you can still commend both. But if we're really looking to be able to solve this guy, the thing between our two ears, that's a big part of this game. Psychology is the name of the game. So let's get back to the pyramid of priority, huh? So if we're thinking about from a mechanics perspective, everything below this is about psychology, which is really the majority of what we do. But going above it, we have a caloric deficit. Above that, macronutrient distribution. Above that, micronutrients. Above that, meal timing. Above that, supplementation. You have to get a layer done before you focus on the next part, right? So if we're starting off with caloric deficit, that's simple. You have to make sure that you are burning more calories than you're eating. Now, even just saying it in that context gives a false truth to how people look at this. When I say you have to be burning more calories than you're consuming, people hear burn and they think I have to exercise to lose weight. And that's not the way this goes. Now you can, but I would highly recommend, it is much easier. You guys probably saw a post that I made a couple days ago. It is much easier to be able to reduce calorie intake than it is to be able to burn more calories through exercise. You can eat 250 calories in like 30 seconds. It takes you 30 minutes to burn 250 calories, right? So you will never catch up. You probably heard the idea of you can't outtrain a bad diet. That's what that means, right? So you have to start off with a caloric deficit. And no matter what living organism there is out there, if you are a living organism and you expend more energy than you eat, than you consume, you will lose weight. Now, if we go one step above that, we want to have the right macronutrient distribution. What that simply means is, it sounds fancy, it's not. It's really simple. So there's fat, carbs, and protein. We start with protein. So if you saw my last video, you already know that you want to generally just take your body weight, multiply it by 0.75. I'm sorry. You want to take your goal weight, multiply it by 0.75, and that's how many grams that you want to be shooting for per day. And then from there, you just fill in the rest with carbs and fat. In that video, I go into how you figure out your calories and stuff like that. So once we have all this stuff, and we should talk about it a tiny bit, the reason you want to have a good protein intake is so that, number one, you are more satiated, meaning you do not feel the need to eat as much. Number two is so that you improve your ability to, or you avoid muscle wastage, meaning when you work in a caloric deficit, your body is trying to take energy, right? It's burning energy. Now it can either burn muscle or it can burn fat. It can also burn some stored sources as well. Well, that's a stored source, but I mean, just like, stored energy in like your liver and stuff like that and in your muscle. But the point of that is you don't want it to come from muscle. If it comes from muscle, you're going to have a bad time. You probably have known people who have lost like 20 pounds in a month and everyone's singing their praises and then they plateau and you're like, what happened? Did they just do they not want it anymore? Did they stop? No, they're still going. The problem that they ran into was they lost muscle. Out of the 20 pounds, only 12 was fat. 4 was water, 4 was muscle. Muscle is what keeps your metabolism up, right? Muscle is the most calorie dominant, would that be calorie expending tissue in your body, right? Muscle. Yeah, I believe. And then your brain's up there pretty high too, but that's not going to change. So, but muscle is something you can control. You can't get a bigger brain to burn more calories, or at least I don't think you can. So that's number one. That's why protein's so important. And then you want to have just like decent amount of carbs, emotionally so you feel good, but then mainly so that you don't have any brain fog and that you have energy, and then enough fat to make sure that your joints feel good and that your hormones are regulated to create an environment for fat loss. Now, to lose weight, those are the only two things you need. Game over. That's it. You're done. That's it. And then you just need to optimize for the emotional side of sustainability below it. That's the part that's really hard to learn. That's the part that really takes work. And that's why we coach, right? If I could put this entire program just in like a course, I probably would. But with the amount of nuance that goes into every individual, giving them what they need when they need it, it's like a web of like so many possibilities. So it's kind of hard to package. That's why we do coaching, right? But let's keep going just for a second. For weight loss, all you need is a caloric deficit. I mean, technically for weight loss, all you need is a caloric deficit. You've probably heard of people. There was something, I think it was a college professor or something that went on the Twinkie diet. He had a caloric deficit. He lost weight. He ate only Twinkies for like a month. He lost weight. How? Because that's how physiology works. Now, if we step above that, he lost a lot of muscle, right? Because he didn't eat any protein and he wasn't doing resistance training. So yes, he lost weight, but remember, weight loss isn't the goal on its own. It's body transformation. So that's why it's important that you have macronutrient distribution. But for caloric deficit, macronutrient distribution, you do not need anything else for body transformation. You don't. Game over, right? And then just figure out the bottom part of sustainability and adherence, which is the most important part. Again, we're always optimizing for starting and never stopping again. That is the key. That is the key. But let's step above that really quick. Micronutrients. So if we're thinking about micronutrients, this is to really set up your longevity. I mean, living a long time. I mean, your ability to fight disease. I mean, organ health, like pretty much all the stuff when you go do your blood and they're like, wow, your biomarkers look amazing. That's this, right? So micronutrients are going to be all the stuff in food that you probably aren't extremely aware of, right? Like we know, get your greens, get your fruit, blah, 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 blah. And I'll be honest, that's enough. You don't need to have, you don't need to know every single vitamin in the food you're eating because it's just going to get overwhelming. I don't even know it, right? But I do know the foods that need to be had to be able to create that ideal self. So I'll share that list with you really quick. Let me see. I think I have to share a different part of my screen. Hey, welcome back. All right. Let me see if I can just share my notes. Perfect. Okay. So if we're thinking about these notes here, let me see. Is that good? Okay, perfect. So if we're thinking about these notes, what we're going to look at is a couple different foods. Now, I'm going to say this one more time. It does not matter. If you are not losing weight yet, this does not matter. Why? Because are you going to be motivated if your goal is weight loss to be able to start eating these foods if you're not experiencing results? The answer is probably no. So don't do this yet. Like this is something that I don't focus on in the beginning. We focus on it like in week 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, depends on the individual, right? But if you are getting results, things feel easy. That's the most important thing. If things feel easy, things feel sustainable, and you are still rocking and rolling, now we can start to add in some of these foods. There's really just 6 categories: fruit, fermented, greens, sprouts, omega super seeds, aromatics, like your flavor foods, legumes, and then also like shrooms and seaweed. If this is something that you guys think is valuable to you, I'll make it into a document and share it with you guys. I'll make it look pretty. Just let me know in the comments. So what we start to do is we always looking through the lens. What's the easiest to do with the highest result? What are the foods on this list that you like? Okay, well, I like watermelon. I like this. I like that. Cool. Let's start adding some of those in. Now, here's the key. You still have to be, let's go back to that for just a second. You still have to be in line with the pyramid of priority. So even though now you're increasing micronutrients, you have to still make sure you have the correct macronutrient distribution and your calories don't go up. A lot of people, when they start to increase micronutrients, the bottom parts of the equation go away. Why? Because some of the foods that have the best micronutrients, like avocado and seeds and maybe some nuts, are all super high calorie and like super high fat and not very filling. So you overeat them so that your calories now stop you from losing weight. So it's important that you keep the bottom part of the equation. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's keep going. So you're going to pick some foods from this list. You could even just pick one from every part. But again, ask yourself, is this sustainable, right? That's the name of the game. Is this sustainable? You're going to hear me say that so much, it is going to sicken you. Is this sustainable? Right? I mean, that's what it comes down to. Now, after we optimize micronutrients, and again, it just depends on the individual how much we do this. So I'll be totally honest with you too. I have clients that I've worked with for almost a year now, and they don't care about like optimizing micronutrients. It is not my priority to get somebody to the top of the pyramid and finish. It is my priority to do whatever it takes to keep it sustainable and to get them results. That's what matters. Not everyone gets up here, and that's okay. It's totally fine, right? Like, I have no ulterior motives to get you to supplementation, right? But what I mean is, if you start doing too much for micronutrients, well, now it's not sustainable for the individual. So we've hit a cap. They are not able to increase micronutrients potentially higher without a different direction while keeping it sustainable, right? Now, let's just say that you are the individual that, can put more time towards this. So you do it. The next level up is meal timing. Meal timing is, again, not for weight loss. Meal timing does not change how much weight you lose. People think if I don't know how this got popularized, but if I eat every 2 hours, my metabolism revs and is faster. That's BS. It's not true. It's like not, the people that say that do not have an understanding of basic physiology, not even human physiology, like any living organism. So meal timing is more about indirect benefit. The indirect benefit of I feel better because I'm not starving. So because I'm going into my next meal not starving, I make better choices. Generally, that's why meal timing affects weight loss, not because it's some magic thing, right? Like intermittent fasting is just skipping breakfast. It's not magic, right? Now, I will say meal timing affects performance, how you feel, just like we mentioned. Especially if you're an athlete, meal timing is relatively important, right? Like if you're going into a big workout, you want to have energy, right? You don't want to be burnt. You don't want to be on fat stores. That's an inefficient way to gain energy. But again, this goes beyond now just general population weight loss. And this is now going into athletic performance, which again, 95% of you won't care about. And that's okay. You don't have to be a top athlete to have an amazing body. Like some of my most crazy client transformations aren't athletic. That's okay. That's fine. The last thing up there you'll notice is supplementation. Now, what this means is that the majority of you listening, I would probably say 98% of you should never have to worry about supplementation, right? Now, I will put a little asterisk there because there are some things that can help you, but generally, it's not worth the money, right? For a lot of you. Now, do I spend money on supplements? Yeah, I spend money on supplements. I have a pre-workout. I take creatine. I do some other things like cocoa powder for like heart health and blood flow, and what's that other stuff? I'm drawing a huge blank. What's the stuff that grows your fingernails? Oh my God, collagen, cinnamon powder. I do a bunch of funny stuff, but that's because I've done everything else, right? And what you'll see is a lot of influencers out there, especially on social media, are going to try to sell you a supplement because they make money off it. And that's the truth. So I hope that what you're able to take from this is that the most important thing is that whatever you're doing, it has to be sustainable. Keep that in mind. That is the most important thing. It is better to optimize for starting and never stopping than it is for quick results. Because I can promise you, quick results will leave you in the 97% that starts and stops. And I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to get to your final goal and sustain it forever. So I'm here for you. If you need anything, feel free to just drop a comment on this video. Let me know if this helps too. Because if this doesn't help, I'd rather spend my time doing something that's actually going to help you. So drop a comment below. Let me know if there's something else that would help you, if this helped you, or if there's anything. No bad questions. See you guys soon.